It's Saturday, August 8th, 2026, and there's a lot of interesting severe weather like this day one outlook. We got tomorrow's outlook for a slight risk, and another slight risk on Monday, even including a tornado risk tomorrow, a heavy wind risk. So there's a lot of, just shenanigan stuff happening right now that you need to be keeping an eye on. So let's get straight into the video. Alright, let's start off with our day one outlook. As you can see, so Category 1, we have a slight risk for severe weather over here up in New York. We'll get to that, but let's first talk about this marginal risk for severe weather over here. So there's a marginal risk for severe weather for Fargo, Minneapolis, St. Cloud, Sioux City, Sioux Falls, Des Moines, Lincoln, Omaha, Nebraska, Kansas City. You're included in that, and Bismarck. You're also. So we have a big marginal risk. If storms do wrap up and do become stronger, we could get. We will get a slight risk for severe weather right here. And if these get, really training thunderstorms and they're not training thunderstorms, we could get an enhanced risk in right over Sioux Falls. So Sioux Falls are in this bullseye today. A lot of things can change with this on this outlook, and this might cause us to go live if this outlook does change. Let's go to the next marginal risk, and down here in southern Arizona, we usually see this at this time of year, but not as much as we've had. We have a marginal risk for severe weather for Williamson, Prescott, Phoenix, Florence, Globe, Tucson, Ajo, Sales, Nogales, and Agua Prieta. A lot of you guys are asking why you're not using WX Rundown. We use WX Rundown for radar, but not for outlooks and just forecast reviews. We use it for radar and everything else. Some videos we'll use it for models and stuff too. All right, let's go into our next marginal risk for severe weather for Albany, Boston, Hartford, Providence, Brookhaven, Salisbury, Georgetown, Williamson, Harrisburg, Scranton. We've seen this a lot all the time of year, and it's busted like half the time. So we never know what's to come. It's literally busted every time. But if this does become, and it's not like a bust, and it actually figures up and becomes a actual thunderstorm, we could get some major impacts today, and could even get an enhanced risk. So get ready for that. We could get some. The tornado risk today is a 0. If there's any tornadoes, it's going to be over here. But it's by the ocean, so not likely. The wind risk today is a 15% wind risk over here from New York, Philadelphia, and 5% all the way over here. And the hail risk is a small 5% for over here and over here. Let's now go to the day 2 outlook, and we have a slight risk as our max. Once again, let's first talk about the marginal risk for Maine into Canada. So we still have a marginal risk for severe weather for River Blue. Some of these areas are going to be French, and I'm not going to say it because this is French part of Canada. Bangor, Manchester, Huntington, Dover, Foxfort, Lincoln, Bronzeville. You're including that marginal risk. If storms do come strong out of Canada, they could get a slight risk for severe weather later on here. But storms have to be very strong out of Canada. There's already a level 3 out of 4 risk up in here in Canada. So if these storms do continue to be as strong as what it is coming down from Canada, then it'll become a slight risk. But these storms are likely to lose a lot of strength once it gets right along the border. And there's not really a tornado threat for that either. Let's go to the next marginal risk over here. Knoxville, Asheville, Charlotte, Greenville, Columbia, Gainesville, and Athens. You're including that marginal risk for severe weather. It's like a circle. We're going to have some training thunderstorms. I think the start is mainly about flash flooding and maybe in a bunch of training thunderstorms. So that is why we have a marginal risk for severe weather. Our last one is over here down in southern Arizona for Florence, Globe, Tucson, Sales, Nogales, and Agua Prieta. Once again, we see that a lot of times this type of year. And let's now go through this big marginal risk impacting about 2 million people. Going out west, we have Rapid City included in it. Strongest, Perry, Abington, Watertown, Sioux Falls, Sioux City, Mankato, Rochester, Mason City, Fort Dodge, Waterloo, Washington, Des Moines, Iowa City, Galesburg, Bloomington, Peoria, Springfield, Indianapolis, Nova Zealand, Fort Wayne. It goes all the way eastward to Columbus, and it goes north into Milwaukee and Sheboygan. So that is the risk. Let's now talk about our slight risk for severe weather. For southern Madison, Janesville, Kenosha, Rockford, Singapore, Ottawa, Joliet, Chicago, South Bend, Valparaiso, Lafayette, Fort Wayne, Auburn, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, Dubuque, and Janesville. So this is a very high populated slight risk tomorrow. As we can see, we have 13.2 million, including that. Joliet and Chicago being the most populated areas for that. The tornado risk is a 2% tornado risk for the whole America. Same spots included in that slight risk. So tornadoes are going to be a big threat, and water spouts if you're in the southern Lake Michigan. Water spouts are going to be some. So we could get an isolated tornado or two over there. If we do get a couple more storms that will rotate more, we could get a 5% either here, depending where these storms are going to rotate, or here. Depending on where these thunderstorms are going to rotate. We don't know yet. We got to find out the day on. Our wind risk is a 15% over here. Same spots as before. And we have a 5% down here in southern Arizona, one over here, one out of Canada. So that is our wind risk. And the hail is not going to be anything. Once again, just have a 5% hail risk for Pierre, Rapid City, and Struggles. So let's now go to the day 3 outlook, which we have a slight risk for pretty much the same areas. It just goes further east. Well, let's talk about the marginal risk. We finally don't have a marginal risk out here, so this is our only marginal risk. It starts out northwest in Bowman, Hangter, Bison, Buffalo, Rapid City, Pierre, Winter, North Platte, Lexington, Lincoln, Omaha, Sioux City, Sioux Falls, Winter, McKinney, Rochester, Fort Dodge, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, Indiana, Galesburg, Peoria, Bloomington, Novasville, Indianapolis, Dayton, Columbus, Southern Columbus, Maysville, Morgantown, Elkins, Harrisburg, and Williamsport. We have another slight risk. This one, once again, doesn't include Iowa. It's just more east. So we have a slight risk for severe risk on the northwest. We have a Stockton, Freeport, Washington, Morrison, Rockford, Singapore, Ottawa, Joliet, Aurora, DeKalb, Schaumburg, Evanston, Chicago, Gary, Portage, Marysville, Cronton, Roseville, La Porte, South Bend, Goshen, La Georgia, Fort Wayne, Lafayette, Finlay, Toledo, Cleveland, Akron, Youngton, Wheeling, Pittsburgh. So these storms will start off all the way over here, probably starting with Iowa. They'll get some more strength once they enter the slight risk. Then they're going to go through Chicago fastly with a tornado threat tagged onto it, like a 2% right here and a 5% right here tagged onto it, which will get upgraded from Michigan. He will go all the way far over here east. That will be strong. And then Michigan, these storms are not going to really come to you. All right? It's really going to be coming more eastward through the slight south, the area of this slight risk through the lake. So Michigan, you're not going to really get the strength of these storms as what it did, but these storms are going to be pretty strong coming through. The Probabilistic does show a 15% any severe risk and the 5% around it, so that's going to be a big threat out there. On the Probabilistic, we don't see anything other else. So let's now go to our excessive rainfall real quick. So today, starting off, so we have a slight risk, at least 15% for Savannah, Charleston, Newport, Huntsville. Isn't this where the Savannah Bananas play? In Savannah? It's only in the comments. Let's go to tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a slight risk for excessive rainfall. I think what we had about like a month, 2 months ago, we had like an outbreak of flash flooding in the Chicago area, the suburbs, and including Chicago. All surrounding areas of Chicago had like flash flood outbreak. So we're probably going to have that happen again. Let's look at the QPF real quick so we have an idea of how much rainfall we're going to get. And to see what I mean, we got up to 2 inches in some spots over here. Get Arlington Heights, Mundelein, Evanston, and Skokie even get dumped by 2 inches of rainfall. So get ready for that. We get some pretty dump rainfall. Another slight risk again out there. And then we have another slight risk south over here. It's not good on Monday. Tuesday, we now have another slight risk for excessive rainfall. And we're just going to keep having training thunderstorms all along, dumping on Chicago, Detroit, and Columbus, and New York. So we're going to have a bunch of rainfall. Let's now look at the tropical cyclone formation. So out here down in Asia.
Colton?
What?
You need to eat breakfast soon.
Okay, just after this. So we have a tropical cyclone formation. We have a 20% out here near Asia. This is by China and the Philippines and no, never mind. I don't really know my geography in Asia, so 40% over here and a 60% over here. The Mariana Islands are included in the 20%. We covered that. And we have these all random islands all along it, so bullseye. And we of course have a 40% over here because this is always normal. We do have tropical disturbances, as we do have a 20%, or actually, no, sorry, 60%, which is medium. Once it hits 70, it's going to be high confidence. So get ready for that. We have an ongoing typhoon right now. It's called our tropical storm Chanhome. This is going to be a Japan one. It's going to stay as a tropical storm. It's going to make its landfall over Tokyo, or north of Tokyo. And hopefully it doesn't hit Tokyo because, Tokyo is a high populated area. And now we have one in China that's heading straight for Xinjiang. I think Typhoon Dolphin. It's going to go up to a category. So right now it's a typhoon. It's category 1. And it's going to make a landfall over here. And it's going on Wenzhou. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But the high populated area that's going to make is Xinjiang. Alright? Or Gang. Sorry. I don't know how to say those. But the next week we have a 40%. And what we're all concerned about off the west coast of Africa. And off of south that we have a tropical disturbance, day 7. It's 20% low, but this can always get upgraded in future outlooks. So we don't know. The drought, just keep on for fires. It's very dry for fires over here, so you can get some scattered fire weather just coming in from any of these areas like that, or at least orange and red and dark red. Let's finally talk about our nice weather. Temperature. Today, temperature-wise, is going to be brutal, really. It's going to be very humid over here. If it wasn't like that, we would get a perfect day out here. Or however you call it out here. But, so we have a decent, it's going to be fair. This is where it's going to be nice, and same as over here in Los Angeles. It's just going to be brutally hot and humid out here. Tomorrow, once again, it's going to be brutally humid and hot. And it's going to be nice out here, though. And finally, going to Monday, it's going to dump rainfall. So that's all the weather talk I have for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to keep an eye for the live streams at all today, for the next couple of days even. We will be covering tomorrow and the next day for Chicago, because I do cover Illinois severe weather. So if that happens at all, any of the time, our intensity score reaches an 86 at all for the next 5 to 6 days of severe weather, we will go live. So keep an eye for that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, WX Rundown, for letting us using your radar. I seriously love your radar. We don't use it for forecast videos. We use it for radar, and maybe we'll use it for forecast videos. I'm still working on some stuff with the app. I love the app. You guys should go check out WX Rundown, his channel on YouTube. You should also check out his radar. It's a great radar. All right, you can get all of that on WX Rundown. So much stuff you can look at. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Goodbye.